Good afternoon, but it's morning. But if I don't see you, good afternoon, good
doesn't
morning, and good
it
night.
doesn't make any difference because people who are clicking play on this don't care
That's
whether
a
it's
good
morning,
point. That's a
afternoon,
good
or
point.
night.
We
So
missed
don't.
last week, didn't we? We didn't do last week, did we?
No, we did not.
Yeah, see, we're failing our audience.
It's not my fault.
Okay.
It's not my fault.
All right. So let's talk about Troy Jackson,
The
shall we?
Troy Jackson coronation has occurred. Can you
So,
believe
so let me
how
say
this
this.
turned out?
So let me say this about that. First of all, I'm not a fan of Troy Jackson. Never have been. Never will be. Uh, I I feel two different things about how this happened. Three things. Three things. So let me say the three things. First of all, I think it was really sleazy politics the way he manipulated the system to get the nomination. I also think it was very clever of him to manipulate the process to
Both
get
can be
nominated.
both can be true. Both can be true.
And 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 the good thing is that it stopped what I thought was going to be an absolute 2 day fiasco with a deadlock and no clear candidate. So, what he did manage to do was avoid the infighting of the Democratic Party and get anointed as the candidate. Now, was it transparent? Was it backroom manipulation? It really wasn't. It was Troy Jackson who got all of his supporters to in all the counties to say we're going to vote for each other so we will have all the delegates for Troy Jackson, which is what he did. And I don't know why Shanna Bellows, she did that. She started that a little later. So did Shaw. So give him some credit for a brilliant strategy. I don't like it, but if you have 100 days before an election, I'm not sure what else you do. Otherwise,
Well, these are certainly extraordinary times, and the process. I mean, the 2024 Democratic nominee for president, there was not a voting process for
right,
Democrats.
exactly.
And now in the 2026 election here for the Senate seat in Maine, the Democrats have not had a voting process. It's
Well, they not
unbelievable.
exactly. I'm gonna challenge you on that. Okay, so look, 2016, Democrats anointed Barack Obama anointed Hillary Clinton. 2020, they anointed Joe Biden. 2024 anointed Kamala Harris. Three elections, people had no say in it. I agree with that 100%. I don't know if there was, I mean, this was different to me than Kamala Harris because first, Troy Jackson did run for the governorship. He came in third place, not the best showing I would have liked. Uh, Shaw had a much better gripe about why am I not the candidate when I won the first round? But you can't, there's no way you could do it any other way. You did, and even Kamala Harris, to be honest with you, you can't do a convention 3 months before the election. How do you do it? How do you do it? Right? I mean, you really don't. So,
Well, you get what you got.
yeah, Plattner, that's not a good idea, right? I mean, that's who
Well,
won.
no, I mean, Plattner won the whole thing fair and square. He
Yes, he did.
destroyed a sitting governor in Janet Mills,
Yeah.
knocked out your beer guy, who, by the way, I saw him on some of the, what was it, a debate? Kind
Well,
of
that's it.
kind of seemed
The channel
seemed kind of
six.
seemed dumb to me.
Well, the channel. No, he's very bright, but the channel six debate was ridiculous. They did it in two parts, four candidates in each part. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous.
And
Absurd.
the Alicia, or no, what was her name?
Oh my,
Alex Webb,
oh
with
my.
the Meatloaf lookalike. I mean, this is our first time doing a podcast since that was one of the greatest moments in the history of Maine politics, right then and there.
Like I wanted to nominate her. I thought she'd be a great candidate. Look, I don't think the
Unbelievable.
Democrats had no choice other than and by the way, I'm not sure Troy Jackson is either the best candidate or the worst candidate. I mean, look, Shaw is a moderate. I think he would have lost the platinum votes. That's the problem. I think you had to get a progressive, which it means either Shanna or Troy, to get the platinum votes. And I think he'll get 75% of the platinum votes, which is he's not going to win without the platinum votes, right? So, and
Probably, yeah.
Shanna was not going to win, right? Shaw, the question is, I think Shaw would have been a better senator and a better candidate because he's a moderate. But Portland's going to love Jackson, and he's a second district guy. Now, the problem with, as you know, the problem with Troy is he was a Republican before he was an independent, before he was a Democrat. He was pro-life. He was anti-gay marriage. Does that help him or hurt him? I mean, on one hand, he can say, okay, I changed, I evolved. Okay. I mean, it was 22 years ago. So I'm not sure it hurts him. I'm not sure it's the best Susan Collins attack she can have on him. What really is the worst thing about Troy Jackson is he's a bully. Now,
He's also stupid, but
well, you know what? I got to say,
and he's number than a fucking pounded thumb. They've nominated the stupidest guy in the room.
he got,
It's amazing. They looked around and said, the dumbest guy in the room, you are going to be it. And they've nominated him to run against Susan Collins, who's going to wipe his
you
fucking
know,
ass.
he's smart enough to become Senate Majority Leader for three. I mean, let's
In
give
the
him some
Maine
credit.
legislature, that's not a great accomplishment. Also filled with a bunch of imbeciles.
I'm not sure you can say somebody's stupid that who has been successful in what he's done. I just look, I'm not a fan of Troy. I think he's got a temper. I think he's got a bad disposition. I think he's a misogynist. I don't care about I'm not I don't care about him being pro-life and anti-gay marriage in the 1990s. That doesn't bother me at all. What bothers me is that he's a bully and he's got a temper and he's a misogynist, in my opinion. That bothers me. Okay. And and listen, Susan Collins has got $16 million. She's going to have 50 to 60 million when it's over. Now, Troy Jackson's going to have 25 million when Schumer money comes in. Here's what I'm going to say. Do I think Susan Collins is going to win? Probably. But you know what? I'm going to say to the Republicans, keep being overconfident because
Oh, and look, go out and vote, turn out, get out, everything for Susan Collins. She's still going to kick his ass.
well, she beat Sarah Gideon by 8 percentage points. I don't think she's going to
She'll
beat
beat
Troy.
she'll beat this guy by more than 8 percentage points.
I'm willing to take that bet.
You
I don't
are
think that's
all
true.
right. Want to do it right now?
Yep, yep. I
I will
think
buy
that
you dinner at the restaurant of your choice if Troy Jackson beats Susan Collins. And if Susan Collins beats Troy Jackson, you will take me and buy me
no, no, no,
dinner at
no,
the
no. You said
restaurant.
by 8. You said by more than 8 percentage points. I'm not betting Susan Collins to lose. Okay.
Okay.
I think
All right.
Susan
So
Collins will.
8%.
So if Susan Collins doesn't win by, I'll say 8% or more, you buy me dinner.
Okay.
If you believe that,
That sounds fair.
and we'll go to McDonald's. I won't get double lobster chicken. Um, here's it depends on a lot of stuff. We're less than 100 days out. Let me tell you her vulnerability. The advantage. Susan is well liked as a general rule. She brings gobs of money into the state of Maine. She's had 5 terms to really make lots of friends. Look, she's a hard person to beat. If she loses, it's because of Donald Trump. And this is what I'm going to say about that. Not that she's voted for Donald plenty, but she's been an adversary to him. You got gas prices still going up. That's going to hurt her. If Donald Trump succeeds in getting tariffs against Canada, which is the stupidest thing he's done lately, there are neighbors. That hurts Mainers. That's going to hurt Mainers. You got the guy in Biddeford who got killed by ICE. Whether it's right or wrong, I'm not debating the morality of it. That's going to hurt her because it's her president who did that. So you got some things that are working. The Kavanaugh vote, we'll lose some of the votes for her. I don't think that's
Those are fair. Everybody's forgotten about that. You can get an abortion until 9 months. Abortion is available on demand still, despite what Troy Jackson says.
so.
So I don't think it would
And
be an issue.
and and you're not gonna have you're gonna have a blue wave, but not a 30 to 40 seat blue wave, okay? A blue because of the makeup of the House. The Dems are gonna pick up 15 seats, maybe 20 if they're lucky. But that's that's I mean, it's gonna be an anti-Trump year and an anti-incumbent year. Remember, the last time the Dems took over the Senate, they beat six incumbents. Okay, and so Susan's vulnerable because she's been there so long. And Troy, and the way now Troy is not an outsider. You can portraying him as an outsider is
He's the
bullshit,
epitome of an insider.
right?
He's an
But
insider.
there's no doubt about it. But he has more of an appearance of a populist than Susan Collins does. Susan Collins is clearly perceived as, I mean, Susan Collins said she was going to run for one term. Let's not forget that. Although, when do they ever matter?
So what?
So
It was 30 years ago.
I think Susan will squeak it out by 2 or 3 percentage points. But lots of shit.
Now,
Yeah,
that's bullshit, man.
lots of shit can happen before, and it depends. If the Iranian war ends this week and gas prices come down $1 and Trump, as the taco usually will not do tariffs in Canada, then it enhances their chances.
Right. I wish, the Iranian thing is just bullshit and Trump should never have gone there. But yeah, if it ends and gas prices drop down accordingly, then that does nothing but help her.
Yeah.
In the meantime, we've got this gubernatorial race going on with Rick Bennett siphoning off, depending on who you talk to. You talk to this guy, and this guy says, oh, it's going to take votes away from Bobby Charles. You talk to that guy, and that guy says, oh, that's going to take votes away from Hannah Pingree. Hannah Pingree has a nice lead right now. We know that for sure. And and so many. I've called out the Republican gubernatorial candidates on Facebook for not lining up behind Bobby Charles. There's a lot of butthurt Republicans led by our former radio adversary, not an adversary, but our former radio friend Ray Richardson, who's all butthurt about Bobby Charles. And I'll never vote for Bobby Charles. Bobby Charles is a bad guy.
Wait a minute, hold on. Butt
Whining
hurt.
like a little bitch
Wait,
about it.
butt hurt.
Yeah, butthurt about it.
I,
Your guy lost. You know what? That's the way it goes. People lose elections all the time. Republicans, one thing Republicans do very well in this state, Ken, you know what it is?
Complain.
Fucking lose elections.
They do.
That's what they do. They lose elections, and they're lining up to lose this one if they're not lining up behind Bobby Charles. And I'll tell you, the Charles campaign, I'm glad you're going into Bangor and talking about things in Bangor. You don't have a problem in Bangor. You got a problem in Cumberland County.
No kidding.
And what's the next county up? Saginaw County. That's excuse me, Cumberland County, York County. I'm sorry.
That's where you not Aristocrat.
That's where you need to be. You need to go. I was talking to somebody today. You need to go down to Portland, down to Saco, down in that area. Talk about public safety. Talk about get the Karens lined up behind you. Talk about needles on the street. Talk about people getting shot and killed all over the place. Talk about a guy the other day throwing a bag of semen at a woman in Portland, and talk about that stuff and how it's law and order, and get the Karens behind you. Bobby Charles, not enough. He's up north too much. Get down to that. That's where you're going to win or lose this thing. Am I right?
He's not going to win. I mean, look.
Ken, all right, let's not debate about whether he's going to win right now. What does he have to do to try to win?
Oh, go.
Am I
be in first district? Absolutely. You can, no doubt about it.
Okay.
And argue the law and order. Absolutely. No doubt about it. I like Rick Bennett. Not everything about Rick Bennett. I like a lot of things about Rick Bennett. If Troy Jackson had been the gubernatorial candidate, I would have voted for Rick Bennett. Clear, pure and simple. Okay.
Oh, but you're going to vote for Pingree now. That's easy.
I like Hannah. I mean, she's likable.
She too has been part of the problem for the last 20 years.
Well, I think, but what Democrat would you say hasn't been part of the problem? What candidate who ran would you say was not part of the problem?
Well, as much as I hate Shah and think he's on par with Fauci, he can safely divorce himself from the economic situation, from needles on the street, from people having bags of semen thrown at them and stuff like that much easier than Hannah
Yeah,
Pingree can. She's
yeah,
been the Speaker of the House. She's the same thing as Jackson. But yeah, he I think could have taken himself out of that
yeah,
equation.
yep, yep.
But I think there are some things to go after Pingree on, but I also think most importantly for Bobby Charles, not even talking about Hannah Pingree, and I think the laundry list of things that she is responsible or has been a part of being responsible for is the fact that he's not down there in southern Maine a lot of the
I agree.
time banging the drum down there about public safety. It needs to be done.
I think Rick Bennett takes more votes from Charles. I really do. I think that there's some. I don't think a lot of Democrats are going to be enamored by Rick Bennett because his views are generally more conservative. I just don't. I like Rick Bennett, and like I said, I
And
would have
Hannah
voted for him.
Pingree is a likable candidate.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's say, look, I have my criticisms of her. I always say that if Hannah Pingree's name was Hannah Smith, she'd be pouring watered down drinks at some dive bar in Portland, and that's true. She's a nepo baby. She's only gotten to where she is because of who mommy is. I mean, let's
I,
face it.
I agree. I listen. That's
There's no record of accomplishment there. Hannah Pingree's not done anything on her own.
that's
Nothing.
when she got elected, she did things on her own. I mean, she'd have become,
But why did she get elected, Ken?
I agree
We
with
always
you.
talk about Joe Baldacci and people vote for him because they think he's
I
John.
agree. I agree.
Same
I
thing.
I agree. I mentioned that
Same thing.
we had a
But that
king,
said,
we had a bunch
she
of
is a likable candidate.
yeah,
She comes across as being likable and personable, and I get that. And that means a lot to a lot of people.
yeah.
You probably wouldn't mind having a beer with Hannah Pingree.
Well, but
She knows how to pour one, or
but
her
it's a
mother could pour it because she's a former,
but
we
it's
all
the
know.
same as people like Susan Collins. She's a likable person. I mean, how many
I know.
right?
Same thing as we used to George W. Bush. Remember Bush against Kerry? Who'd you rather have a beer with? I mean, it was an easy answered question.
Exactly,
So,
because you likability. So, all right. So before now getting off politics, I want to get your take. It's still a little early, but the Patriots. Are they going to
oh,
be good, bad, suck?
they're going to be good. They'll be no, they'll be very good.
Really?
They'll be
Okay.
very good. You're bringing back what you had last year. You're bringing back Drake May off a season where he could have been the MVP. He's going
No,
to be
no, he
better.
was the MVP.
Okay, then he was the MVP. You brought in AJ Brown. You've got a number one wide receiver now on the outside.
Yeah.
I think you had a really good draft. You had some good free agent signings. They won what they win 13 or 14 last year.
The
I
Super
forget.
Bowl. I mean, they were in the
Um,
Super Bowl for God's
they'll
sake.
win 12 plus. Put it that way.
All right. Repeat. Will they repeat the Super Bowl?
I'm not. Don't. It's too early for me to say about that.
Yeah.
I'm just. I'm soaking in this incredible Red Sox run that's seen them go 18-2 in their last 20 games. I was just. I'm taking that all in. I'm not even in football mode yet. I
Yes.
was ready to 3 weeks ago, but now that they've ripped off 18 out of 20, I've put football mode aside and I'm still in baseball
Do
mode.
you do
By
you
the way,
yeah, yeah.
go.
No, say by the way. Go ahead.
I was going to say, by the way, I mentioned to you this to you before we came on. I made the mistake of playing golf
I
yesterday,
think that's great.
and it's like the mafia. Just when I thought it was out, they pull me back in again. And
God forbid,
I
I
hit
have not played very much this year. I
I
mean,
hit enough good shots that I want to play again, but I want to play with you.
we've got to do that. We got to do it before the summer's
But
up.
there's no excuse for us not to
I
play golf.
You'll have to come down, take it easy for a motorcycle ride, and then
Yes.
we'll play.
Well,
So I want to ask you about the WNBA. Do you follow the WNBA at all?
I follow everything that goes on. I don't watch the games very much because it's bad basketball other than Caitlin Clark, but
Yeah,
I
but
do
Caitlin
follow it.
Clark. I mean, I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna buy Caitlin Clark shoes when they come out in October. I think she is just incredible. I just think
You know
she
what, Ken? It's too bad the league doesn't think she's
it's
incredible
It's
because they allow
unbelievable.
her to have the freaking shit beat out of her,
Yeah,
putting fists on her throat, knocked all over the
I know,
place.
I know, I know.
Her fellow players hate her, other
Yeah.
than Sophie Cunningham, who's a
Well,
goddess
no,
in so many different ways.
Mitchell and Boston on that team have been pretty supportive of her. Mitchell's come around. Mitchell's kind of a showboater, but she's been better. But I
Her
mean,
fellow players voted her the 11th best guard in the league. The 11th. She is the league. One of the players the other day was talking. Oh, it was one of the retired players. I think it was Diana Taurasi. Was talking about how the league has gone from flying commercial to having their own planes and or first class.
yeah,
No, no, that happened because of Caitlin Clark.
absolutely.
That's
But you
it.
know, Lobo, who's a past, Lobo's been
She's
very
your meal
vocal.
ticket.
Yeah,
So sure, let her get abused and knocked to the and not back her up
I
on
agree with
anything.
you.
And the commissioner, Kathy, is it Kathy Engelbert?
Kathy
Is that who?
something. Yeah.
She should be replaced.
Listen, somebody I would vote for president, by the way, Stephen A. Smith, who I just love. Stephen A. Smith. I love Stephen A. Smith. I'm sorry, I do.
Even Angry Smith.
I know, but I love him. But he said, when the tide rises, all the boats rise with them. You just, when Caitlin Clark,
Rising tide lifts all boats. That sounds like Ronald Reagan.
that's true. And I bet it's true. Why don't you like Stephen A. Smith? I think he's fabulous.
91% of the time I despise him. 9% of the time I like him.
Oh my God. Why would you despise him? What does he say that you don't
There's
like?
a lot of stupid bad takes there, Ken. You're going with a small sample
Well,
size.
if you listen to what he says about Caitlin Clark, you would like him.
All right, so then I'm on board with him there.
All right. All right. Anything we have to touch on before we say goodbye and good
All
night?
right, I do want to say this. This is the podcast. This is the News to Me Ken and Mike podcast without talking about the Fauci stuff because Ken isn't up to date on that yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to get Ken up to date on that, and we're going to do another one
A
here maybe in
supplement.
the next
We'll
day
do
or
a
two.
supplement. We'll do a supplement.
Right.
Yes, I did not. I
I'll
saw
leave it
you
at that.
posted. You posted something about Fauci, and yeah, I ignored it pretty much. I did.
I'll educate you.
Okay, and you're going to find out if we can be affiliated with another conservative outlet one of these days.
We are efforting to be
Although,
platformed by a very popular Maine a conservative Maine news outlet.
oh, by the way, I did not tell you. And as you know, my daughter has some connections on media, and she loves you and me together. But most of the time, she plays. They want a on Newsmax. Do you watch Newsmax, by the way? Newsmax.
Yes, I do.
Man,
Yep,
they are some conservative, but I've been on Newsmax 3 times in the last week. I was on last night at
I
9:40,
know.
and I was on with the chair of the Maine Republican Party, Jim. Do you know Jim? Do you know his last name? Hold on, I'll give you Jim's last name.
I thought it was Jason Savage.
No, no,
No, he's the executive
this
director.
is Jim. Hold on a sec. Jim, hold on. Jim Diamond. Do you know
Jim
him?
Diamond. Never heard of him.
Diemond. He's the chairman of the Maine GOP. And
Never heard of
I just want to say this. I did one with him yesterday, and I did one with the teenager who was a spokesperson for the GOP,
him. What's her name? Katrina? No.
Christine.
Christina. Okay.
I gotta say, you gotta get better conservative. I said to Amy, tell them about Mike because these people are, it's like shooting fish in a barrel. It's like, like Christine, she's asked the question. So who do you think has the best, before Troy Jackson guy, who would be the best Democrat to run against Susan Collins? Nobody can beat Susan Collins. And I said, well, that really wasn't the question, now was it? I mean,
Pick one. Pick
don't
one.
come, don't come on and do you. If that question was asked of you, you
Pick a
would say,
horse.
well, Troy Jackson, maybe Sean. You're not going to say, wow, why are we having this discussion? Nobody can be
Pick a
Susan Collins.
pick a. You got to pick a horse.
Of course. See, you are an experienced political analyst.
You're
Just
on all
like
right.
shit. So
That's my game.
all I want to say is about. I hope I don't get too much hate mail. I, you know, I mean, remember WGAN. You know, most people were very supportive of me, but there were some who really hated me. And you said I'm like Bambi. How can
Yeah.
anybody hate me?
It's like hate Cat is like hating Bambi. Yeah, exactly.
That's why I love you so much. All right, bro. I will look at the Fauci stuff and we'll schedule another session.
I'm
Okay.
going to send you some stuff.
All right. Send me the stuff
Okay.
and I'll read. All right. You take care. See you later.
Talk to you. Talk to you soon.